Today I'm with Lynda. Some of you may recognise her from my Macrame video if you watched Fopy's Creations. Right, Lynda. Obviously, next question would be your name, but I've just said your name. So you live here as a family or a couple or alone?
Originally, my husband and myself.
Mm-hmm.
My son is here in France as well.
Oh, is he?
He had to move in because he split up with his girlfriend. He's been here for 5 years plus. Was meant to be temporaire, but...
Oh, right, okay. Well, it's good because sometimes when they come over they find it a bit boring. They don't want to stay, do they? But...
No, he's here as well.
And you live here full time?
We live here full time, yes.
Are you owner or tenant of the house?
Oh, we own the house.
I obviously know where you live, but tell them what region you're in.
I'm in the Mayenne region, which is south of Caen, hour and a half's drive from Caen. The Mayenne is a lovely department, and it's a commune called Le Chateau, which sounds beautiful.
Well, it does, doesn't it? It's got a real. I always think it's got quite a pretty name, really.
It's much nicer here than where we used to live.
So you lived somewhere else before?
We lived in Normandy before, in the Orne.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yes, so I like.
And where was that?
The other side of Le Massey, near Briouze.
Oh, yeah. So,
where we done a renovation of a barn, an old Normandy barn, and made it into a 4-bedroomed house.
So it was big. So how many bedrooms have you got here?
2.
Oh, right, so you've downsized.
Tried to.
Well, yeah, downsized and then you've got someone extra to live. That doesn't make any sense. Okay, so do you work here or are you retired?
I work as a crafter. I make and sell macrame items, which was a hobby at the beginning, but now I'm registered with a proper SIRAT number, the registration number for working here, and I love it. I can go officially and sell things and do Christmas markets, Christmas fairs, summer.
And you can't be earning money doing something you like doing as well. That's a big thing, isn't it?
It's not lots of money, but it's a pleasure.
Exactly.
It's an absolute pleasure.
Keeps your brain ticking over as well, doesn't it? So, where did you live in the UK?
We were on the Suffolk-Essex border in a lovely village called Ridgewell.
It rings a bell.
Which is near Clare and Lavenham.
I've not heard of them.
Housestead is where they used to film Lovejoy on the television.
Oh, really? Some of you might remember Lovejoy.
Antiques stuff he used to sell, and a lot of it was all done in Clare, which was 2 miles away from where we lived, 2-3 miles away. So it was right out in the countryside as well, and a lovely little village. 2 pubs.
Wow.
But we didn't visit that often.
Really? So, yeah, I know there's some parts of Essex just really beautiful, and Suffolk is as well, so...
It was like being in Suffolk, really, even though we were just right on the border.
So how long have you actually lived here now?
In this house, we moved in 2012, so that's quite a few years.
You've obviously lived in France before. How long was you there?
We arrived in 2005, and we made it till 2010, and Paul said, after the renovation was done, he said, I'm bored, I want to go home.
Oh, right.
So, unfortunately, we sold up and went home.
So you went back to the UK?
Yeah.
And was that hard for you? Would you rather have stayed? Or?
I would have rather stayed because I'd left one son here. My other son as well was here with us. Both my sons, so stepsons for Paul, you know. Really, one left in France and the other one gone back to England with us, and my heart was torn apart.
Yeah, I bet.
Literally. Came to our senses. We'd done a renovation in England, bought something cheap, nowhere near where we used to live. We had to go. We went up to Lincolnshire where properties were cheaper. Bought a auction type house that was up for auction. We put a bid in and won it for silly money, you know.
But you obviously weren't there for very long.
We were there 8 months or so, and then we put it up for sale and we sold it the first person that visited it.
Well, that's the result, yeah.
So we were back homeless within a year of moving back to England.
But you were both in agreement to come back?
Yeah, Paul realised it was the biggest mistake he ever made.
Yeah, good for you.
Marvellous.
I mean, just really for people to relate to, really. But what sort of age group do you come within on this
We
scale?
come in on your graph. We come in the 50, 60 plus.
Yeah. And I think that's quite a common age here, isn't it? I think we've all to get to a certain age and we think, no, we need to do something else. Let's go on to the first question. The first one is, did you visit France before buying?
Yes, we did.
Right.
We
So
came-
holidays.
We came over at the end of August, camped in a friend's mother's garden, Fougarel de Plessis over there.
Oh, right.
Camped in her garden, toured around. Had a friend here anyway, so we visited her, and she helped us look at a few houses then while we were holidaying. Had a good look at the Normandy and the Orne region, which we liked, you know, so went home and put the house up for sale.
So I mean, being able to do it like you did it as well is a cheap way to come over and do a viewing, because it can be expensive, can't it?
Oh, yeah.
If you do it. What influenced your decision on buying in the end?
Having
Because
renovated...
you bought both houses, don't you? You didn't rent anything at all.
No, we
No.
bought outright. We sold up completely. You know.
So you're
Not
another
all
fortunate one without a mortgage.
no
as well.
mortgage. Yeah. We renovated the house in England we lived in originally, and then we extended that and enjoyed doing it and that, and watching programmes on telly of other people renovating and then moving to France and having land and small holdings and all that, which is big ideas. But
There was a lot of that around that time, wasn't there?
that influenced us. So we came over Boxing Day the same year.
Oh, really?
5 houses we had viewed up to view with the estate agent, and the first one we saw, 10.5 acres of land, a pond, resident geese,
Oh, wow.
garages here, there and everywhere, and outbuildings. Fantastic. A great big barn to renovate, and like a chalet to live in, which was all chalet type house. It was wooden facade on the outside.
Oh, right,
block work on the inside.
Wow.
So we bought that. Paul said, "What do you think?" And I said, "It's brilliant, you know." And he said, "Well, do you want to make an offer?" He'd walked around and he was adamant, really, God, this is it, without looking at the other 4 on the list.
Wow.
We never went any further.
Well, that made it simpler, didn't it? It sounds right easy.
So it was easy, yeah.
Yeah. Why did you decide on that particular property? Was there something that stood out?
He had a massive greenhouse. I'd got greenhouses in England and I love growing things. And inside the greenhouse was 2 great big grapevines.
Oh, wow. So it's a fairly big greenhouse then.
Oh, it was massive, yeah.
Wow.
It had its own pottage, like allotment we call them, don't we, in England, all hedged off with a gate, and that's where all the growing was
That
done.
sounds ideal.
Apple orchards and this, that and that.
Did you get many grapes and that from that?
The grapes were just coming and coming and coming, beautiful, dark. And
Oh, so they're red ones.
Oh, beautiful.
So did you make wine?
No, we had them. The boys used to go to the bus stop in the morning, because the bus picked them up in the village there for school. They'd go in the greenhouse, pick a bunch of grapes and take them off for breakfast on the bus in the morning.
I've never been anywhere where they've had grapes that
Oh,
good.
That was that old, that vines.
Like, that was that town, but let's come to this one because this is where you live in. But why did you specifically choose where you are now, this town?
Mainly, I think, because the part of the Orne where we lived, it was very flat. Unless you drove out, it was flat. It was complete farmland. And I always thought, actually, without being rude, that the Orne was a lot scruffier.
Oh, really? Yeah, I don't venture that way very often, but...
Where we were, around the back lanes and that, it was all quite scruffy.
Oh.
Farm houses and that, and as you know, lots of derelict properties about. I just thought the Mayenne was much nicer.
I think
Lots
the
more
Maine's,
stone houses, and I've always liked stone houses.
And do you think, because there's lots of undulating ground as well, so you've got fantastic views all the time
We've
as
got
well, haven't you?
hills and everything.
Yeah, it's lovely, yeah. So that's the town, but what about the land and garden? Did that sway it for you, or it was more the house?
With this one, I think it was the position it's in. It's near the river. It's a dead-end road. We've got 3 neighbours, which are all lovely. They're all French, but they're all accepted us straight away. We've been lucky wherever we've lived, really. in France we've had lovely neighbours.
So I didn't realise when I came down. So it comes to a dead end, does it?
You drive further down the road, that's it. You're into the fields.
Oh, it's that way. Yeah, I've lost my bearings. Yeah. Right, and obviously the next question is: are you living remotely or in a hamlet or in a town? So what, you come under hamlet or just remotely?
I don't know if it's a hamlet. I don't know what you call a hamlet, Lily. It's
I
usually
think
just
it's
a little group of houses.
It's a group of about 5, I think, 5 houses. But
Well, we've got 5 here, I think.
so you come under hamlet, I suppose. But it's never been said whether you're a hamlet or not.
No, we're just called Le Clos.
Yeah. So there's no regrets about your choice of house or anything.
No.
It's always good to hear. When you chose the other house, what was it swayed it with that? By the sound of it, it was the fact, the amount of land and buildings that went with
house, it was the joy of thinking, oh my God, I can have some animals now. I'd always wanted sheep and goats and that.
Oh, really?
Chickens. I had a goat and I got the chickens. Because the geese were resident anyway, so I didn't have to worry about them. Yeah. Good guard dogs. But it was basically the land. You were in the village, but we had a lovely drive, a gate and a drive, and you drove right round the back, out away from the village, like a driveway. And once you turned the corner, there you were, surrounded by your land. Nobody even knew the house was behind the rest of the houses.
Oh, wow.
Church bells ringing all the time.
Yeah, well, it's the same
that
as
was
for
my
us,
clock.
yeah. I love the church bells. I'm a bit noisy.
That was the day I stopped wearing my watch when we moved to France.
Exactly the same. So did I. I've never worn a watch since I've been here. No. Initially, when you moved over, I mean, and we'll say about both really, but were you looking for a renovation project? Or
yes,
was it
we wanted to do the big barn up there. It was a lovely tall barn, but a longier. But we did realise really the size of the barn. We didn't have enough money to do that after buying the property, so we did start to do a bit, but then stopped. And then a friend that we'd met here introduced us to a French man who was selling a Normandy barn. So,
oh right,
that's how it started.
Sounds like it all kept falling into place for you.
We bought the barn before we sold the other house. So.
Oh right. So so you were looking for renovation. When you've done the renovation, have you done all the work yourself or have you used artisans?
We've done all the building work ourselves. Literally, with the barn, we rebuilt all the walls and put the internal in, the upstairs in, because it was just a complete upright Normandy barn with torche and the beams on the front and everything. Sat on a stone.
What was that word you just said? Torche?
Torche.
What's that?
That's like in England they call it wattle and daub.
Oh right, I'd never heard of the word before.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I've learnt something today.
Mud and straw and that, and put in between the beams and then build the walls with it.
Ah,
good insulation.
Yeah, I knew it was done, but I didn't know what it was called. So you've done that yourself, but have you used any artisans at all?
We used an electrician,
right,
to fit all the electric for the house, and he fitted the heating as well. Our son, he was trainee plumber on an apprenticeship.
Right.
So he done all the plumbing.
That was handy. Yeah.
All the plumbing.
And so the electrician you used, was he English or French?
He was French.
He was French. Oh, well done. So you managed to convey with him what you wanted and everything.
Oh yes, he did speak a little English, but with our sons there as well, we all communicated quite well.
Good.
Plans were done and the job was brilliant.
And was there any sort of delays in him arriving or getting the Devi?
No, when the Devi was done and the date he said he was coming, he arrived.
That's so good to hear, because it's a rare...
I think
so
it was
many
about 10 days
slow.
and they were finished.
Wow.
From what I remember.
Yeah.
The biggest nightmare was getting the telephone on.
Oh, really?
Well, originally the electricity to the house. That was the biggest bear.
Yeah.
We waited.
Well, obviously with Duncan, he quite often has to connect people to the main.
We waited 2 years to get the electric to the house, and then it was nearly another year before the telephone was on.
So you were having to be on temporary electric then until then?
We never even got a temporary line. We had a generator.
Oh, to live with that for 2 years?
Yes, we did.
Right. Right, so let's move on.
In a caravan. 3 caravans we had in our garden.
Wow. What was the reason for choosing that particular Frch Artisan? Was it the cost or recommendations or?
He was recommended, yeah. It was just another person who I wasn't really friends with. They were somebody that recommended him. Well, why really? His Devi was good. I don't think we had another Devi.
I'm just going to say, so that was the only price and
yeah,
you were happy with it?
Yeah.
Was there any problems with the house that you didn't anticipate?
This one? Not particularly.
No? Oh, all right, well, relate back to the other one. Was there problems with that you didn't anticipate?
The very first one there was.
Oh, right, okay. So that's one with all the land and the geese?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it come up with problems that you really didn't foresee?
We didn't know when we bought it, no.
No.
Because we did actually sell that to another English couple who came with horses, which was ideal for all the land.
Yeah.
There was a problem with that house. We found out it wasn't earthed.
Right, yeah, that's quite common though, unfortunately. Yeah, Duncan's always having to put an earth in.
And life wasn't easy with the new buyers after that.
Oh, right.
Back then, I think the law's different now. Back then, you bought a house sold as seen, but I think they've now got a cash
Oh, have they?
Thing that if you buy a house now, I think if there's problems after you've bought it, you can sue the owners. So.
Oh, right. But also now they have a diagnostic done, don't they? I don't know about you, but we didn't have a diagnostic when we moved in.
No,
it's another new thing. So it's there before you buy, isn't it now?
Yes.
So there's no reason to be suing people.
No, we weren't sued, but it was
uncomfortable.
It was very uncomfortable.
Did you set yourself a budget for renovations or?
No, not really. Just went with the flow.
Yeah. So you didn't set a budget and then because my next question would have been, was it realistic? But sometimes you just do that, don't you? Just go along and.
We know what we spent on the barn. Really, I think we spent about 70,000 on the barn, and that was turned into a 4-bedroom house. And that
doesn't sound bad.
No.
And that's probably because you were doing the work yourself as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, we done it. So literally the spotty septic and the electrician were the only ones we paid.
So that's my next question. Did you need to install a Frch septic on either house?
On the original barn, yes, we did, because that was a barn, so there was no services to it whatsoever. Yep. We found an agricultural company not far away. They came, done a Devi, and boom boom, dug the whole garden up, put it all in.
So you say, so you found it. So was that recommended by the Marie or anything? Because I've heard that you can go to the Marie to recommend.
Yeah. No, but it was the French man we bought the barn off of. He knew, being a farmer, ex-farmer himself, he knew who the agricultural people that would give us a good price. That was all done for about...
Again, that sort of fell in your lap really, didn't it?
They landscaped the garden as well because the actual land was right up to the building and touching the walls. So and it sloped up and round to the back, so the back was all higher. So they dug it all out right round the house, right round the back as well.
It's a big job, yeah.
And landscaped it all, put the Frch septic in, and then run it right down the garden.
Wow.
The place was diggers and dumpers
everywhere. Job,
yeah. But that was actually only €3,500.
You're joking?
No,
I thought you were going to say double figures for that.
Well, you're talking back what year then?
True.
2008.
Yeah, true.
But we've always thought that by using the agricultural people, we got a better price than somebody that specialises in doing Frch septics.
Quite likely, yeah.
I think that's why the French man recommended them to us. But for the land work that was done as well, and they shingled it and gave us a proper drive and finished it.
They are agricultural, they can deal with it, and it's nothing to them almost because they're always doing it. Yeah.
So that might be a tip for the future for other people.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's worth thinking about. Yeah, your local farmer or something. The only thing I would be worrying about doing that was it? Does it come certificated? Does it?
Oh yes, that was something else they did other than their farming work and contract field work and land work and everything they did. they did do fussy septic work, so
right.
they were fingers in lots of different ways.
So from that, they knew, I assume, that they could recommend who to empty it as well when it needed.
Presumably, yeah. With it being a new one, the way
so
it
you left
worked
before it
and
needed emptying, or
it didn't need emptying.
No.
It was the new system that sorted itself out. You just had little coals in it that you had to take out.
Because there's different
and
types,
put,
isn't there?
Put them back in, yeah.
Yeah, because apparently they used to be that phosphorus like a concrete box, but they don't use that apparently anymore. They'll just be plastic things or fiberglass and that, aren't they?
It was a concrete one that was put in there.
Right, oh right, but again, that's back
I remember
then.
the hole.
Yeah, no, it's just say it's the difference to now. Would you have any problems with that? I mean, one thing I know with FOS, you have to use specific cleaning products and things, don't you? Was that a pain?
No, I just didn't put anything to do with cooking oil or fat or anything down it, and I used a special chemical stuff that put down the toilet to
and I suppose it just
make
becomes
it
the norm,
bio-friendly sort of thing. Yes.
Yeah, because that's I always think about it and think, oh, I don't know if I could live with doing that, but yeah, if it becomes the norm, then yeah. If anybody else is thinking about embarking on a renovation project, would you give any advice or anything you'd say they should do, or you'd advise they do?
No, I don't think I would. I've learnt now really that you can give advice, but people don't listen.
They want to do it anyway. Yeah.
You can say you have experience, but
yeah, and you think that would be good advice, wouldn't you? Yeah.
It depends on the individual person, what they can do themselves, I think, really, and what they're capable of.
Yeah.
I would be a lot quieter now, having lived here more years. I say, yes, we've done renovation, but I don't now like to boast about it. Is that the way of putting it?
I know what you're saying. I mean, but if someone actually says to you, would you advise me any, or give me any advice? Would you do it that way, or you wouldn't just volunteer it yourself?
No.
No, so you just...
I would, yeah, especially with the fussy septic and the electrician. I mean, knowing that about the fussy septic, that saved us thousands.
Yeah,
with what
exactly.
Was done there.
It's worth. All you can say is it's worth considering. You can't just say, well, that's what you should do. I mean, obviously, that's up to, like you say, in the end, it's up to them, isn't it? So you touched on this before. So is your family back in the UK?
Yes.
So apart from at the moment, obviously you got your son.
One son
staying here.
Yeah.
The family you've got in the UK, do they visit very much? No, it's quite common.
Because we don't love them or we've fallen out with them. They just don't come.
No, very often it's cost and everything, isn't it?
The cost is, what do you call it, soaring.
Yeah,
getting higher and higher, and time and everybody's work.
Everybody's so busy in the UK, they can't get the time off and they need the money, so it's...
For something else.
Yeah, it's a shame. So how do you find the French cost of living compares with where we were in the UK?
I was always very good in England anyway. I always had a set budget with what I spent on shopping. I've always been very careful. I've never been extravagant
so you
shopper.
were a sensible person.
I've always peeled the vegetables, made my dinner. I've never... Occasionally I've bought a lasagna in a packet, but...
So you've always just cooked from scratch?
I've cooked from scratch.
You know where to budget? And
I've got a cupboard full of ingredients.
Yeah.
You'd be shocked if you looked in my cupboard.
You and me both. I can't bring myself to actually buy ready-made meals other than something like lasagna, or if I'm really short on time or something.
And then I get a little annoyed with sometimes how long it takes me to prepare the dinner and cook it, and I think, oh, life's too short, but they all want to eat.
Yeah, it's funny because I've recently been realising how quick I'm managing to cook, and I don't know why. I mean, I did get an air fryer. Yes. And that helps a bit with some things, but generally I was dread it, and then I think, well, actually, that didn't take that long, really.
No. The cost of living, and say, as you say, with what I spent in England, I did, as I walked around in France when I first got here, I thought to myself, oh God, that's dear. I'd walk on. Oh God, that's dear. I'd walk on.
Even when you first got here?
Yes.
Yeah, because I used to find it fairly cheap back then myself. But
say the prices of things are going up, and I think, oh
and everything is, when they sell it, they've always got the per kilo, haven't they, underneath? And I tend to just pick it up. I don't, you know, but if I'm shopping with Duncan, then he will always be looking at the kilo price. So, and I've started to do that, and I'm thinking, well, actually, about 5 different things, go for the one with the lower kilo price, but it's not always the best, so you have to...
I often look on the bottom shelf, but I did in England as well.
Oh, same here. We went shopping the other day, and we come back, and I think at least a third of our stuff was orange stickered with all this reduced stuff on it. Why not?
We're not the only ones doing it. I'm standing next to the French, a very posh French lady some days, looking at what they call it, a gazebo.
Yeah, the gas, anti-Gatsby, isn't it? That's it. Yeah, yeah. So, are you a resident now with a carte d'identité, or are you a French citizen?
We have a carte d'identité, a 10-year one.
Well, did you find the process difficult to get that?
No, very easy, but slow in response when the paperwork went off. But then, you know, once it was all in place, and then we got ours done first, and then Stephen is late with a lot of his paperwork, ignores it, being younger. And I said to him, come on, you've got to get yours done. So his was more troublesome because his paperwork we'd sent through wasn't right, so we had more emailing and sending documents, but in the end I think it was all done within about 8 weeks.
Well, that's not bad.
No.
Had you got your card in that time as well?
When did the card come in the post? I can't remember if it comes in the post or whether he handed it to us.
Well, that's a good point. Sometimes you have to go to the prefecture, don't you, pick it up?
We went to the prefecture for the interview.
Because that's changed so many times over the years, isn't it? It started at one point, it was only online, and then you go down. But I think at the moment, I think the only thing, I mean, from what I know, the only thing you go in for is for your fingerprints.
The fingerprints,
and stuff.
that was probably what we did.
Yeah.
We went in, we had a few questions asked, the fingerprints were done. Did he take our photo? I don't know if he did or not, I can't remember. I know the photo.
I can't remember if we had. No, I think we took our own at the time.
Did we take them? I think we may have.
I think
took
so.
them.
Yeah, but they have to be right, don't they? They have to make
No,
it's
the
like with the
process is
passport,
easy.
isn't it? It's got to be the right sort.
I always used to carry my passport around, but I don't now. I just carry my.
No, just the card.
my
The same
card,
here. Because it used to be when we first come over that you had to have all your documents with you all the time in the car.
Which worries me. Yeah.
It is a worry, but it's just if you ever pulled over, they want to
They
see
want
it.
to see it.
Yeah. If anything at all, is you maybe miss about living in the UK?
I'd honestly say no. Other than
That's what I like to hear.
a few best friends, girly friends.
Yeah.
I miss them.
Have they ever been over?
They've been over more than my family have.
Great. So you don't miss any of the food, any of the clothing, or did you buy
Clothing.
that here?
I bought this here.
I was going to say it looks very French. Yeah,
Does it?
It does.
It's
yeah.
second hand actually.
Yeah.
Nearly all my clothes
Sometimes
are second hand.
it just really.
I love second
I'm
hand.
the same. Apart from this, I did buy this in action.
Oh no, you spent money.
Yeah, exactly.
That is probably something I missed at the beginning. The charity shops in England
Oh,
that I
no,
used to
I do still
go
miss.
in. But I am finding places now where you can find the clothes. So.
Yeah. Emmaus you can go to, can't you? And there's a few others. A few dependents do clothes, don't they? Yeah.
Lots of the English ladies have all made groups on the internet now, so we can swap and.
Yeah, I've not done that. Have you? So you've done that, have you?
Yeah, this is where this come from.
Oh, I've not tried that yet.
A pre-loved group, which is great, and everybody's really nice on it.
Oh, that's good. Well, you'll have to give me the link to that. Look, when it comes to the shopping and that here, are you happy with their shopping opening hours?
Yes.
And for what reasons?
I think Sundays should be for family, like like we see the French doing. You know, if you drive out in the lunchtime, there's cars at everybody's house. They all look like they're having dinner together and that.
Yeah.
And we just come back to our drive and it's empty. There's no one here having Sunday lunch with us. So I miss that, and Paul does too. No, I wouldn't want to go into the shops on a Sunday.
No. You've got the odd supermarket open till 1, haven't you? But I'd rather not.
Yeah. Okay.
So you wouldn't want them to go back to hours like the UK, or
No,
to start hours like the UK, I should say.
I wouldn't go.
No. Do you see yourself growing old in France?
Yes.
Or as I would say for me, older.
Yes, I'm getting old pretty fast.
So you don't anticipate any problems around that?
I suppose it's your health you worry about the most. More and more people I know here and that have ailments, and it's just, I think we're all getting checked a lot more with the healthcare here as well. You know, they're monitoring us better and finding things more quicker. You know,
they're very much into the prevention here, aren't they? Rather than trying to get rid of it.
But are they in England? I don't know. Are they?
I think they're getting better, but still not. No, still not great. Things like the bowel cancer test is definitely later. It's about 10 years later, I think, in the UK.
Is it really?
And I was really relieved with that because I had to go in and have a polyp removed, whereas that could have just, you know, it
turned into something
exactly. Are you likely to return to?
After having done it once like that.
Good point. You did it.
I did
bitten once.
Cried and cried when I was back in England.
Yeah, so there's no reason you'd go back now, having done it, and you wouldn't do it.
No.
Right, let's move on to the healthcare.
Okay.
Have you had to make use of the healthcare system since you've lived here?
Yes.
So a lot. So you know, it's your personal thing, but it's...
No, I've always been a fairly healthy person. I did have a slight lump come up in the side of my neck, in my collarbone bone there, which I kept looking in there and thought to myself, oh, I don't know, I've got a lump there. Then that was the only serious thing I thought about. And
it turned out to be nothing.
The lump wasn't mentioned when I've had all these CT scans and all this.
Oh, right.
Nobody actually said what the lump was. And it's
so you've not had that
now.
Investigated, it's just scanned and not seen?
I've been through scanners and everything and there was no comment over it. They found polyps in my throat.
Oh, right.
Which are still there.
So is that problem with swallowing or anything?
I've got no problems. I've got no symptoms of anything. I cough anyway because I'm a smoker, you know. I swallow and there's nothing, I wouldn't even know they're in there, but they found them on the scan.
But they've not done anything bad, not seen anything, no problem?
No, nothing.
Have you managed to find an English-speaking practitioner when you've been to the hospital?
Majority of them speak English. I know you can take a translator with you. Lots of the hospitals have got volunteers that will come in and speak with you, which is something for people in the future to not worry. There are groups, help groups, free groups that have these volunteers that will help foreigners when they're in another country. I know
of one couple, but you say there's a few around, is there?
There is. Yes.
That's good to know. How do you think the healthcare system compares to the UK? Did you use it much in the UK to have a comparison?
No, I didn't, no.
So it's difficult, isn't it, then, if you can't really...
I've only ever been into hospital once for a small operation years ago, and that was years back, really. I mean, to me then, I don't think England was in dire straits. I was seen to pretty...
So it's not a proper comparison for now, I suppose.
No, I can't compare really. Touch wood, where's the wood? You know, I've so far...
it sounds like you've kept yourself in good health, yeah.
Even though I'm a smoke like Willio.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, don't talk about it if you don't want to, but to touch on the problems your husband's had, has his care been...
His care's been brilliant here in France. Seen to very quickly. Diagnosed super quick and treatment done, and now in recovery, and life's different for him, but he was seen so quickly. And
that's good. So it could have been much worse.
It could have been much worse, very quick.
Did you find it difficult registering with a GP and dentist and that here?
No. When we first moved here back in 2005, when we were at the other houses, the GP was easy. That was done there. She spoke English too. It was a bit daunting when we moved here into the Mayenne region. We thought, all right, now we have to find another doctor. Because we'd gone back to England and actually not took ourselves off the books of the other doctor.
So you were right when you got there?
We visited her when we lived here, because you can visit any doctor. While we lived here, we drove to Briouze, you know, 3/4 of an hour drive to see the doctor.
It could be worse, could have been hours, couldn't it?
Could have been hours. But having moved here now, then we found a local polyclinic and the doctor there speaks fairly good English, so...
Now, obviously, we all have to have our carte vitale. Did you find that difficult to get that when you first came?
No, dead
That's another-
easy.
Yeah. And was it more the waiting for the card to arrive than the actual
No.
process? Oh, really?
No, in our first experience when we first moved here, we had to go to a place in Flares with all our documents and everything, handed them all over, and because we then weren't retirees or anything, so it's basically
In your younger years.
our younger years, you know, and,
Yeah.
and the paperwork was all handed in. We had everything that was needed, handed them through, and it was about a month our carte vitales arrived. It wasn't that bad when we came to this house when
Oh,
we
really?
moved back, because obviously we had new carte vitales.
Well, I suppose it's an individual thing again, isn't it? It's just if you've got more complications, it can take longer. But if you're straightforward, then yeah.
Having moved back to England and then coming back to France, the fear of the unknown wasn't there, obviously,
No.
and the language
no,
barrier.
That's true.
I was
yeah.
very shy when we first.
Excuse the dogs.
Yeah. There's English Jack Russell. I was very shy and coy when we first lived here, and not confident enough with trying to speak my French. But when I moved back, I was completely blasé. I thought, I know enough French now. I'll keep saying it until they realise what I'm saying to them.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
Yeah.
But when they answer me, I'm a bit baffled then. I think, what, hold on.
Exactly. Yeah. It's what they throw back at you. You think, ooh.
But the confidence is there now, and then that's helped with the paperwork as well, because we've been through it already.
Yeah.
See?
And because the other thing as well is obviously it's recommended that you obtain Topup Insurance. So did you do that?
No, we never done it when we
No.
first lived here. We did get this big bill when we first lived here. We thought, well, what's that for? But it was a contribution to carte vitale. You know, we weren't working and we weren't retired, so we just paid it and thought, all right, okay, fine. I looked into it a bit.
So you paid,
and it
it's
was
to get you to pay in.
It was a yearly contribution.
Oh right,
So-
I didn't realise you did that.
But yeah, that was out of the blue. But obviously, we know you don't live here for nothing.
No, exactly. And obviously your husband's cancer treatment was free anyway.
Yeah, cancer treatment is free,
Yeah.
heart and everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
but no, we've got Topup Insurance. Yeah,
Oh, you have now. Yeah.
which is
It's
not-
difficult to know because it's not cheap, is it, to
No.
get Topup, and everybody gets different packages. So that's the thing with the Topup Insurance. Did you find it complicated and difficult to understand the packages and what you got back?
No, not with what I've got.
So let's move on to the integrating part. I think you touched on this earlier, but do you feel you have been accepted into your? Well, you're not in a village, but you're in a hamlet. But
In our hamlet, yes.
do you meet anybody actually in the main town at all in Macrame? Don't really know anybody in the main town.
Well, Macrame is a village that if you drove through it and blinked, you'd miss it.
Yeah, it is very quiet.
There is no shops or nothing. We have
No.
a church.
And it's got the cider museum.
Oh,
Yes,
yes, we have a lovely cider
Yeah.
museum. No.
But you didn't have any trouble anyway, so you were welcomed.
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah,
totally.
It's always good, yeah.
Which is such a surprise because, you know, so many people say that the French don't like the English, but
Yeah.
I think we're lucky that a few of our neighbours here do know a little English. But I try to speak French to them, and then they like to practice their English so we can correct each other. So that's how our relationship
that's the brilliant.
is.
Getting that balance is great, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, sometimes I think it can be people's approach to the French that makes them get a bad experience, but I don't know.
Our French neighbour, when we first moved here, we were renovating, we'd waved and said hello as they'd driven past and everything when we were outside in the garden, because the garden was a jungle. We were taming the garden, should we say.
Oh, right.
And our older French neighbour stopped in his little van and he said, bonjour, with his big cigarette cane in his mouth and his French beret on.
Oh,
bonjour,
it's like, oh,
monsieur.
yeah, definitely in France now, yeah.
And he says, I have something for you in French. Yeah.
All right.
And he had the door key.
Oh!
He said, I returned the door key. And I thought all the time we'd lived here about 4 months and we'd only sort of waved and said bonjour as they passed, you know. We weren't
But he'd
ones,
held the key all that time.
we weren't ones to go around and introduce ourselves. We couldn't bring ourselves to do that because they say on the English telly, oh, you know, introduce yourselves to the
but it depends on your personality. If you're shy, you're not going to do that.
No, we were a little coy.
Yeah,
but they knew we were English. They were a bit baffled when they.
Rumour gets round as well, doesn't it?
They were very baffled when they saw a French little white van here as well. See, so they were confused. French and English living in this house. And our son
doesn't matter
French
whether you
van.
live in a hamlet, village, whatever. They know if you're there, don't they? Because the rumours just go. But don't you think it's nice that people know you're there? Because it's and as long as you're welcomed, but it's nice to know because you feel like you can approach them more, don't you?
We've all got dogs here, and all the dogs
just like having children, isn't it?
Like having children.
Yeah.
And those dreaded guinea fowl over the back. I can't stand them.
Are they noisy? Or?
Oh God, they're like guard dogs, like the geese are. They make a hell of a ding dong. And because it's a little low spot here, all the sounds bounce off
off the hills and that, yeah.
And the barns outside, you know.
Wow.
So you think, well, where's that coming from? But it's actually over there.
So would you say you're friends with your neighbours? Do you
We're
visit
very
for
good.
apéros and things?
We've had aperitifs regular. I make Christmas cakes, take them round. I make other cakes during the years. They love the English cakes.
Yeah, they do.
We've had lots of dinners together.
Oh, lovely.
Each neighbours, and I can say as well that we all had one of those Neighbours' Day.
Oh,
Day together.
really? Oh, lovely.
I think that was September. It must have been after COVID. We had it end of summer, beginning of September.
Celebrating being able to come out.
We'd all been allowed out, I think, and that.
Yeah.
And I suggested, because it was May time, I think, when the Neighbours' Day normally is, and I suggested, shall we do it with two of the ladies? And then one lady said, yes, we will do it, the French lady, and she said, we'll have it all at our house. So I wanted to do it here, but it ended up, we was down the road, and we all took something, and we had a lovely barbecue, an evening outside, just before the weather turned, the beginning of September.
That's the lovely thing sometimes
It
about a
was great.
hamlet or a village, isn't it? Because people can be closer. Yeah, lovely. Oh, it sounds ideal.
And that helped a great deal as well. It was more integration and more chatting with us, so they got to know us even more. But this is probably only 3 years ago, but we have had good relations with them.
So you didn't know anybody that lived here when you first moved to France? You didn't know anybody here at all? It was just...
I had a friend that lived about half an hour's drive away.
Oh, right, so you knew someone. So did she offer you help for when you first got here?
She did.
Then?
She was the one who originally came with us to look at the houses on Boxing Day when we first came over in 2005.
Yeah.
We stayed at her house for 3 days and we were back in England before New Year.
Do you think you could have done it without her? Or
Yes, we probably could. Yeah. Easy.
To say it's not as scary sometimes as people think, is it?
No.
In your opinion, do you think it's important to be able to speak French?
Yes.
So, did you learn before coming over?
No.
Oh, right. So, have you had lessons then since? Or you taught yourself?
I learned a little French at school years and years back.
Basic school French, yeah.
And then I opted for German.
Oh, really?
In the final years
that
of
won't
school.
get you anywhere here.
So I find myself when I answer the phone here, I say ja instead of bonjour.
Yeah. How did you find German though? I mean, some people say it's easy to
at
learn.
School. I passed my German exam, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. I can do,
That
and I can
means
say
absolutely nothing
ja
to me.
down the telephone now. Sprechen Sie Deutsch? I can do.
I'll get that one. Yeah.
But you know, je suis anglais now.
Yeah, we can all do that. We're the one that most
Bonjour,
of us know.
madame, in France, in the first few years of learning French at school, bonjour, madame, comment allez-vous? And then they would say très bien, merci.
Yeah,
So I remember all that.
Yeah,
This is the basic French I had when I moved here.
And
Aloesa.
the way they...
The song we all learned
Oh,
at
yes,
school.
the school.
Aloesa.
Yeah. But often what you're taught in school isn't the way they actually speak, especially not here in the countryside, is it? No.
Well, my son knows that with having been thrown in French school and that, and living in 2 different regions, and with his work now. He said there's Briousians, there's Mayeniers,
Yeah.
there's
all the different patois.
Totally.
But I'll talk to you about the school actually in a bit.
I did do French lessons when we arrived in the first house, 2005, because we'd got 2 young boys. My first went port of call myself with a dictionary in my hand and a notepad and paper. I'd looked in the dictionary, written a sentence down, which is
But you've got to know how to put it together, haven't you? That's the thing.
Not realising that some words go back to front when you write them and everything. I just wrote this sentence down, went into the Marie's office, the secretary to say, bonjour, bonjour. And I'd written this note down, handed it to her, and I tried to say it. And she said, oh, you're the nouveau anglaise dans le village. And I said, oui.
Well, at least you got it. But so, I mean, that is the thing. You can't literally put it down, can you? You can't do each word and put a sentence in. It's a lot more the conjugation, as they say.
She helped with finding the school for the boys, the secretary that helped us all with that. And from there, she also then, if you're starting school, it would be an idea for you to have a social worker, because you've arrived here with 2 young children. Youngest children, you know. So we also got introduced to what we call a social worker, somebody to help you.
Wow.
Which was where me and the boys used to go to sort things out and for some help with different things. And she was the one that suggested I went for French lessons.
That's brilliant. I didn't realise they supplied that, yeah. She
got me into that and into French lessons.
Have you ever, so you say you went to lessons, did you try using an app or anything like that?
I didn't have a mobile phone or anything.
Oh, right. Oh, well, then no app for you, yeah.
And the computer at home was very hit and miss on the connection, so until we finally gave in and had a orange box connected, because I was trying to dial up and connect.
Oh,
this is how.
Take me back now.
Because you could do that when you first came to France. I was with Wanadoo then. Wow. Have you heard of Wanadoo?
Rings a bell. I don't.
Well, this is wanadoo.fr. Some people have still got Wanadoo email addresses, I think. Well,
yes, probably where I know it from.
You could dial up and get a connection. Anyway, oh God, that had me in tears.
Really, why's that? Just frustration?
Frustration because I wanted the internet on, because it was a source of connection with the outside world. Yeah. I'd only actually started using a computer in England 2 or 3 years previously and surfing the internet, and that was a dial-up, you know, with Virgin.
It's funny when I use obviously computer and all that all the time, so it's hard to imagine.
You forget how things used to be.
Yeah. I can't remember life without them, I must admit.
Well, I phoned Wanadoo one of the days because I knew it should really work, and this nasty man on the end of the phone said, "You've moved to France." He said, "If you can't speak French to me, I can't speak to you."
Oh, well, that's not nice.
And he hung up.
You don't hear that very often.
This was the Wanadoo engineers as such. And I just ran out into the barn. Paul was knocking a bit of wood out and crying my eyes out. But I got so, and he said, "Why are you getting so upset?" And because it was the internet. I said, "I wanted the internet on."
I must admit, I think things have changed slightly now that the French are learning more English. They understand the frustrations, so they are a little bit more sympathetic. You do obviously still get some that don't.
So we went to the orange shop and
got yourself connected.
Got a box. That was the future anyway. The internet wasn't going to work anymore without them boxes anyway.
No,
they were phasing it out.
So when you went for lessons, did you find that was a real help though? You did learn particularly, because some people, but they don't always get necessarily.
I started my lessons. I hadn't started at the beginning of the term, and everybody that was in there had already been doing it for probably a year or more. So I was thrown in the deep end. I went with my French dictionary and my English dictionary, and the teacher spoke very good English. She was an English teacher, I think, in other places or years past. And she said, "Put your dictionaries away." She said, "You are in here now, we speak French only." And she said, "Until after class, if there's something you want to ask me, I will speak English to you."
And
which was fair comment.
Yeah, I mean, it's daunting, isn't it? And you think, oh God, but it does give you a kick
I've been
up the-
trying to do like I did to the mayor's office, write a sentence down from words from a dictionary, and it doesn't work.
No, that's when you realise, isn't it? Once you actually start talking to the teacher. So, but you're fine. Obviously, you've been here long enough now that you're getting okay in shops and everything like
fine.
that. Yeah,
I'm fine so far. I have noticed one thing though. When I go and ask for a kilo of cheese or a kilo of ham, stock up for the month as I normally do when I'm shopping like that.
Right, yeah.
You know, there's been a few new younger ones on the counters.
Right.
And if I've said a demi-kilo, they've gone 500 grams, madame. And I've said, pardon? I've always
said demi, I must admit.
Well, recently they're saying 500 grams. Is that what you want? So I'm wondering if some sort of measurements somewhere that we don't know about have altered, that they're having to say it. They've all been saying 500 grams, is that what you want? Not a demi-kilo, as we know.
Well, it's more specific in a way, isn't it?
I suppose it is, yeah.
Maybe that's why, maybe because that's what's on the scales, it's not going to come up saying demi-kilo, is it?
No.
Maybe it's more to do with them and
That's
being easy for
I
them.
thought,
oh yeah, that's the only thing I was going to say was because you said that now when you get together with your neighbours, you sort of help each other. English and French as well. So that's. And if you were talking to them and you got a word wrong, would they correct you?
Oh yes.
Fantastic.
I can't say two-turn, village up the road, and he makes me go goo.
It's difficult with the ooze, isn't
and
it?
she goes goo like that to make me try and pronounce it.
I'm interviewing my Keep Fit teacher tomorrow, and she's from the north of England, and she finds so many of things like that. She always says because it's an A, and things like an ooze.
So do I.
And that's the in the class. We got a lot of French ladies in the class, and they laugh, but they just always correct her, and it's fun, makes it fun. But she really has troubles with the ooh, so she really accentuates the ooh now when she says it. But it's quite funny. On that,
I get my neighbour as well though, because she can't do her H's and her W's.
No, but the same with ours. They do struggle with it, don't
the
they?
W's, isn't it? Who, what, where, and when.
But our classic H is a lot. I'm used to leaving it off now, but I mean, it's like when our neighbour's a Harry Potter fan, so of course he gets Harry Potter. Yes, it really sounds funny. Sort of touching on sort of income, it's quite a personal thing really, but once you decided to live here, did you know how you were going to support yourself? Because that's one thing they insist, isn't it, when you move out, especially now?
In the new rules now, yes, you have got to have, as far as I know, a self-supporting, a job or whatever. I'm not really 100% sure of the new rules.
I don't know if it's since Brexit or whether it was there before, to be honest, but
I don't know.
Yeah,
we were self-supporting ourselves. So.
But you didn't sort of come here and think, oh, we'll just wing it. We know we can do it.
Oh, I suppose by saying that, yes, we did. That was, we moved here with the money we had from the sale of the house in England, and we're living on that and renovating it. I did end up getting a job. I had a little part-time job, yeah.
All right.
Paul didn't, because he was, still at home.
Was that in a shop or something? Or
no, it was a dog kennels.
Oh, right.
Cleaning the dog kennels out and that. And
was that for an English couple, or was it they French? Or?
That was an English lady that run a dog kennel. She's been out here many years, yeah. And then I done that for a year, I think. And then her cleaner left, so I started cleaning her house instead of doing the dogs. So.
Yeah, you do what you got to do. This is it.
I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah. So you didn't come here deciding to run a gîte or a B&B or anything like that. Right. You was just gonna do your thing.
Do our thing, yeah.
Yeah. So you've touched on that, but you did work then, but you're retired now. You don't.
Paul's
really...
retired. I'm not.
You still do Macrame?
I've
Sorry,
got
yes.
a registered business.
Yeah.
As you can say, an artist making crafty things in Macrame.
Yeah. As I say, you're doing something you love to do, and you're paying in the system as
I'm
well.
paying into the system.
Yeah, exactly. Did you find it difficult registering as an artisan?
I used a hand helper for that.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to make sure it was done properly.
Yeah.
And that, so no, I didn't try and do it myself.
No. Do you find the cotisations that you have to pay high or acceptable for what you get back in return?
I think they're acceptable. generally.
I think the healthcare is the main one, isn't it? You think that it's worth doing it for that, really?
Oh, yeah.
Right, let's move on to transport and driving. Do you find it difficult living rural and there being no public transport?
No, because I've always lived in England, really rural.
Oh right.
Always had to drive.
So you didn't really use public transport much in the UK either. So that's no real difference to you.
No.
Now, how far is the nearest train to you from here?
Got no idea.
I'm just wondering now what direction.
Is there one in
we are.
Mayenne? There isn't one in Mayenne.
There's
Laval,
signs for it, but it hasn't been there for years. It's weird. They kept the signs up.
Laval, and we knew there was one at Briouze because that was the main line to.
Is Fleur anywhere near?
Granville and Flare on the same
Fleur,
line. When we lived over there, it went straight to London.
Yeah.
Not London, Paris. With a change in the middle,
Yeah. No. So you've got a car and you don't rely on anybody else to drive you at the moment?
No.
Did you find it difficult registering your car when you first came?
No.
You've been really lucky with all your bureaucracy, if you like.
Having now got the internet on living in the modern day society, it is a lot easier now.
Yeah.
But we didn't have any trouble previously at the other houses to register the cars.
Yeah, as was a while back as well.
I had got a book, Living in France. I've got 2 or 3 different ones of them. They were published.
Makes sense, yeah.
I bought that, and that was a guide on how to live in France. Yeah, I had 2 or 3 of them.
Oh, well, that makes
information
sense.
that
That's
was
what
in
the books
that,
are there for. Yeah.
Because I didn't have the internet.
I was just going to say, whereas you'd find that now on the internet, yeah.
I've done it all. Paul doesn't do paperwork, I do.
Ah.
So he won't touch it. He hasn't got a clue. So I do
It's the opposite way around for us, probably.
I do the tax returns. I do any paperwork or an invoice that hits the letterbox, a bill.
Well done you. I don't do any of that.
I've done all the paperwork for the registrations of the cars and that. He's recently renovated an old Land Rover, and we just got that. I done all the paperwork for that, a classic registration just before Brexit. So we took all the photos, put all the paperwork into the classic registration people. I did all that.
Wow.
And within 2 weeks, it had its registration papers.
So if ever I've got to do something and Duncan's not available, I know where to come.
I could be able to help you, but I'm not boasting about it, but I'm quite proud. I read how to do it online. There's lots of useful groups there to help. You don't always have to pay someone to do it for you.
I must admit, I'm more of a practical person.
If you're patient enough to look and do it yourself.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, I'm more of a practical person. I need someone to show me how to do it, because reading it, I start to read it and then I go blank.
Yes.
It's just. Have you exchanged your driving licence now for a French one?
Paul has.
Oh, you've not got
because he's expired, because he was a lorry driver.
That's
in
right.
England.
You wait for it to expire usually, don't you?
So he's expired, and then he went to a French one. I can't. I sent mine off as well, but it was returned.
Why is
because
that?
of the Brexit ruling, and it's now said I don't have to change my driving licence until I have an infringement, as in a speeding fine. Then I'll have to surrender it.
Yeah, because they do insist you do it then, don't they? So then that they can sort the points out.
I sent all the paperwork off, recorded deliveries, but spent money on it, sent it off with his, and about 9 months later mine was all returned, still in the drawer in the envelope.
Have you now got a left-hand drive car, or you still got an English car?
We have recently just purchased a left-hand drive.
Oh right.
We've got a left-hand drive van as well, actually. So two French vehicles and the English Land Rover, which was registered here. I do feel at home on the roads in France. Locally around here, there's not a lot of traffic. It gets busier the further you get to the bigger cities, obviously. We all know that. Living in the countryside, you forget how busy the roads are. I've always felt comfortable on the road in France. I feel like I'm on the right side of the road when we're driving. It's crazy. It's a crazy feeling. I've always felt that.
What do you mean by that?
I think in England they drive on the wrong side of the road. I think
you're comfortable being on the right side?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think we're driving on the right side of the road in France. I think England should change. Honestly, When we get
Yeah,
to
why
England,
did they decide it was on the other side in UK? Yeah, it's a good point. So you found it great, seamless, no difficulty with the driving on the other side, yeah?
No.
Have you had to buy any emission stickers or anything yet? Have you had to deal with that?
I've made inquiries and looked to find out how we would get one, but we don't possess one yet.
I think it's worth everybody knowing, because I'm sure there's probably still people out there not realising you need to get them when you go into big towns now.
We haven't had the opportunity really or gone back to England yet since that was put in place.
No,
anyway.
and it's in Rouen and that here.
Yes.
And the big towns, and obviously in the UK there's big uproars about it, isn't there? Because
we know if we go to visit England, we've got to have one in England and we've got to have one in France.
Exactly. I mean, it's only, what was it, less than €5 or something to get a sticker here.
Not a lot, it's silly money.
It's not worth talking about, yeah. Right, let's move on to food and shopping. Do you enjoy French food?
Yes.
You was hesitant there. Is that you just see?
What do you mean by French food?
Well, I mean, as in, it is a difficult one,
All the
really.
products I buy are French. What do you mean?
Right. But let's say if it was in your restaurant and it was French food, would you enjoy it then, or would you prefer? Yes. Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've never had frogs' legs or snails.
Have you not?
No.
Oh, I have. I didn't mind either, actually. Snail's a bit chewy, but
yeah,
I do love frog's legs.
I do,
and I think that's more to do with the garlic, actually, because I love the garlic.
Yes, we all like garlic.
And obviously, because you said earlier on, you cook from scratch. Do you enjoy cooking?
Yes.
I wouldn't say I enjoy it. I do it.
I am getting a little bit. Probably just my age.
Yeah.
I'm getting a bit fed up with cooking.
Yeah, I think some nights you just think, I have no idea what to cook tonight. Yeah. Do you find it hard to find the ingredients you're looking for, or have you adapted to French ingredients?
I've adapted to French ingredients. I've always bought flour. We've always liked lots of cakes. There's cake over there in a minute, Janet, if you want cake. We've always been a cake maker.
Oh, really?
So
I love making cakes, but then I eat them. And I know that sounds silly.
I know. If you haven't got any or no biscuits,
exactly,
you can't eat them. Yeah.
And do you, I mean, it took me a long time to get used to the flours, didn't it? The different flours, but I do buy the gâteau flour now.
I don't.
I buy the gâteau flour because it's for cake. But when I talk to my neighbour, they put yeast in their flour, don't they, for cakes?
What, bread yeast?
No, there's like a patisserie yeast, because if you try using it for bread, it just doesn't work. But yeah, they use what's it called, levure, and that's what they use to make it rise.
A baking powder like we would in England.
That's a good point. I don't know whether it would be the same as a baking powder.
I do believe I've actually got some of that in the cupboard. That's baking powder.
Yeah,
and that looks like yeast. It looks a bit like yeast, right? But this is communal, still the same word.
Oh no, the yeast I've got's more of a brown colour, but then that's the bread one. Yes, you're right, that one might be different.
I make my own bread anyway, most of the time.
I remember you saying, so do I now. That's the one, yeah. But so it is baking powder?
Of course it is.
Well, I never.
There you
I didn't realise, because I've never seen it with baking powder written underneath it.
Did they think I bought that in the supermarket, that one?
Well,
this is an odd one.
See, I've learnt something else today.
So sorry. I only ever buy plain flour.
And use baking powder.
And bicarbonate of soda with it.
Yes, I've done that on a few things.
Because bicarbonate is a riser on its own as well.
So you've learnt to substitute for French. So you don't really buy, or very rarely, you said you sometimes buy a lasagna, but you generally cook
I did
with French ingredients from scratch. Do you find yourself going in the foreign aisle a lot in the shops at all, or do you? No.
Only if I have a dying crave for salad cream or brown sauce. I won't pay them prices anyway.
It's a bit dear, isn't it?
It's far too expensive.
Yeah. Do you find it difficult? I mean, because obviously now with Brexit, we can't bring stuff over.
No.
So when people visit, they can't really
Tea bags is the main problem, but our supply dried up, and then we had to resort to French tea bags, which I'm not. I'm only a coffee drinker anyway.
You can get Tetley, but it's not used, and it says Tetley English tea, but it's not the same.
No.
Tea bags, I don't know I think it's okay because it's not meat and it's not dairy. We've just had someone come over who's actually one of our viewers, who's a friend now, and he bought me one of those 1,000+ big
Yes,
bags
I've
of
got
Yorkshire
one in the
tea.
cupboard.
So I'm set for a while.
Yes, that's true.
And have you ever come into the English shops that we've got here?
I've been to the English shops, yes. Again, I've purchased a few things.
But it's a little bit...
But it's more like pleasure shopping.
Yeah, it's just that
treat,
and reminiscing.
Treat.
Yeah. I mean, that was the first place I managed to buy halloumi.
Oh yes, I have seen that.
I bought that there because I hadn't seen it anywhere else, but I now know I can get it in Lidl's and everywhere. So you definitely don't shop more English than French.
No, I don't.
No. Favourite French food or a favourite French drink?
Moules and frites, I love.
Mm-hmm.
But I am getting quite accustomed to a steak. Once it's been cooked right.
Yeah.
that is the main thing in France, isn't it? If
yeah.
it's cooked right, you're going to have a good one.
Do you find that because they always ask you how you want it cooked, don't they? And when I used to come, I'd always ask for it to be well cooked, and they get insulted by that, don't they?
Yeah.
So you got any frustrations at all with the French supermarkets?
Sometimes the smell when you walk in the door of the fish counter, can woof around the supermarket.
I suppose, yeah. When you walk into Intermarché, the fish gets right in front of the door almost, isn't it?
It woofs away.
It does, doesn't it?
There is one frustration with a particular supermarket where I buy the dog tin meat. Big tins you can buy like this, like 200 or 400 gram tins. But the big tins are on the bottom. The packs of 4 are on the top shelf.
Yeah, and you're not the tallest
and
person,
they stack them right to the back of the thing. A few months back we were in there and I could just see, they were stacked on top of each other because somebody took the first 2 at the front off. And I thought, right, Paul's gone off to the freezer section, he's round there. And I thought, right, how do I get them down now, being such a short person? And I looked up the aisle, there's no one around to say, excuse-moi. No tall man. My husband's tall, but he was gone. So I end up foot on the bottom.
I was just going to say, you didn't climb it, did you?
Foot on the bottom rack. Just carefully lifted myself up to get the top tin on top of the other tin. I just get my hand on the top tin and I've got my hand on the other, so I'm trying to take 2 off the top shelf. The one on the top, it slips out of my hand, hit me right across the head. Quickly got my tins and I thought, oh my God, am I bleeding? Oh my God. And my eye went, whoa, like that, hurting so much. Quickly got my tins and then ran straight round to the freezer section and got the bag of peas out. And Paul come round the corner and said, what are you doing?
Why have you got your head in the freezer?
I've got the big bag of peas across my face. And he said, it's hard to believe. I said, but the till fell down and hit me on the head. And you could see the big line right across my forehead, right across my eye, and I was all bruised and everything.
You didn't say anything to anybody?
No, I didn't.
So next time I'd say go and get someone.
I was lucky.
Mind you, is your husband taller than you?
Oh yeah, he's 6 foot.
Yeah, so he would have been able to reach it, yeah.
He's off somewhere else on his jollies,
His jollies.
Like we do, we split up a lot of the time in the supermarket.
Yeah.
So yeah, my fault really, but no, they shouldn't be stacked. You shouldn't have tins up on top of each other. Yeah. It's an accident waiting to happen.
So anybody French watching?
Yeah.
How would you compare supermarkets in UK to supermarkets here?
As even keeling, I think. As even keeling. We have what we call the bargain supermarkets here, just like you have in England. Aldi's and Lidl's and Netto's used to be in England as well.
Do you know there's Netto's here? They're so rare though.
I have seen it. I think the very first time I came here it was a Netto's in Garonne, which is not there now. No, I think they're an even keeling with England really.
And the boulangeries, do you visit a boulangerie very much?
Only for a special treat.
And what would be your special treat?
Pan carré.
What's that?
It's a loaf of bread.
So the square loaves.
Yeah, a long square loaf.
So what's the difference with that to any other bread then?
It's much softer.
Oh, is it? No, I've not even heard of it.
We used to cut it, Paul used to cut it the other way.
Oh right,
yeah. Because he's
oh yes, that sounds good.
His dinner plate's big as well. So.
Well, he's tall, isn't he? By the sound of it, so he probably does need that. Okay,
I'm not that keen on all the French tarts and all that, but I do like them almond frangipani.
Oh, so do I.
I love them.
Do you like, what about the almond croissant? Do you like those?
They're nice too.
Yeah, I like those. But,
As you say, it's a luxury.
Yeah.
Really.
The only thing I've experienced, a lot of people I've spoken to recently, the tarts and the cakes look absolutely beautiful, but there's not a lot of flavour.
No.
And they just put too much emphasis on the
It looks pretty.
Yeah.
But it's not always.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The only thing I've ever
right.
had that looked, I wouldn't even say it looked that pretty, to be honest. It was just a chocolate mousse cake that our neighbours got one New Year for us. And they always go to the expensive boulangeries, so I knew it cost them a lot of money. But that was the most delicious chocolate moussey cake I'd had.
Well, you mustn't knock them, that's a skilled trade.
Oh yeah, definitely. Now going back to your son really with school, so he's been in the school system here.
Both the boys, which were my boys, have both been in the school system, yeah.
Because you're the first person I've spoken to that have actually had children in school here, so it's
right,
quite interesting.
They were 13 and 14 when we arrived in France.
That's a really awkward age, isn't it?
A terrible age. I got ridiculed behind my back in England, really. Other good friends of mine were telling me that other mums had been talking about me, taking your boys to France at this crucial time.
What has it got to do with them?
Well, obviously didn't think, they thought I was mad and shouldn't do it, I suppose. But they did know a little French at school as well. They were having French lessons at school, but we didn't really take much notice of what they were learning, I don't think, right then. But they came to France with us, both came, and as you say, the Marie secretary helped us. She got us into the nearest local school and that. They were accepted because they were the first true English students there, first two.
So this is like a village school or a big school? Or, because no, at that age it would be, was it lycée then or was it college?
Oh, that's right, yes, because it was a French artist's school was named after him. A local French artist.
Oh, was this in Mayenne?
No, it was in the Orne.
Oh, right.
Le Ferrier Etan.
Ah, I know the one. Oh, it's a lovely town that is. Yeah.
It's very picturesque, cobblestone roads.
Yeah, it's lovely.
They
Did they find it difficult to settle in, or
at first, I think in the first few months they did.
were they anxious about going?
Quite, but they didn't show it a lot. They were lucky the bus picked them up in the village, so they got to see some of the children then from the village. As at the beginning, they hadn't really met many of them because as you walk in a lot of villages in France, you'll never see one person from one street to the next, you know. So with school, it's integrated them and that, and met more people. They didn't do a lot of after school friends visiting each other or anything. There wasn't a lot of that took place. I don't know if the French don't do that. A lot of the French kids do clubs and stuff like that, don't they? As for school, they were given one-to-one lessons with the English teacher, which they said was after that happened. They said that wouldn't happen again because other English children started to join the school. We were just lucky. They gave them one-to-one lessons, which was brilliant. And also in England...
But at least it gave them a good start.
In England, they always used to have sandwiches, a packed lunch to take to school.
Yeah.
In France, you're not allowed.
I was wondering that because when I was googling about schools, and obviously because I've not done it here, and it did say that I think it did say some schools would let them take lunch, but I think generally.
And my boys has always had a very funny appetite, you know. He loved meatballs and pasta. And oh God, meatballs and pasta. He's 6 foot tall now and as skinny as a rake. That's just his physique, you know.
Yeah.
But it made him realise that no, the bus picked them up in the morning. I wasn't going to go to school at lunchtime, pick them up, and then take them back again for the lunch session. No, because even
some do, don't
they weren't allowed to take sandwiches in and then go in the playground and eat them. If they were going to eat like a sandwich, they had to be picked up and took home, and then they had to be returned. Or they had to have school dinners with their peers. So that's what I integrated in.
Yeah, so what sort of meals did they have? Do you remember?
They used to have fish with rice and fish with couscous. That was...
But do they do is it the same as if you went out to a restaurant? Would they have an entree and a main and a dessert
God, yes,
and cheese?
they had a proper dinner.
Ah, right.
Oh, yes. And I think it was about, back then, that was about €1.50 each.
Wow. It was obviously
It was
a certain
always
amount
paid in
subsidised,
advance.
yeah.
Paid in advance, I think, with an invoice. They'd send the invoice and then it would be in advance. So that was a regular bill I used to get. So much weight each day.
But I do think with the food, it just makes the children here are more respectful of sitting at a table and eating properly.
Totally.
And they're
Really
not finicky with their food either, are they?
It really helped Adam. He became a proper eater.
Yeah.
Because of the embarrassment of not eating. Oh, what's that? And because it's French food. Oh, God, what's that?
Yeah.
He found it. If he was hungry, he did
Get
actually
on and
start
eat it,
to eat it. Also with schooling as well, you have to buy all your pencils, all your notebooks. You have to have all your books for the study in each subject. You have to have a calculator of your own. All these things have to be purchased for them to go into a classroom. All the books and everything in the shops, don't we? And new
trays
bags,
back, yeah.
new bags, rucksacks and stuff. Rucksacks they got through so often because of all the books they were carrying.
Oh, and that, yeah. Other than that, with the language in class, was that really hard? Or I know because when they're really, really young, they can pick it up quickly, the language and that kind of. But did they find it hard? Did any of their friends speak any English? Or?
There was one other girl there that had a French father and an English mother. She did help a little with them in integration, but you know they didn't all become good friends and carried on being friends and everything. She was quite private because she'd lived here quite a few years herself anyway, so she was integrated with her own French friends, but she did help them quite a few times.
That's good.
With different things. Her mother was lovely as well, and I picked up with her a few times and went to a English conversation group.
Oh, great.
The French wanted to talk English, so I went along a few times with her to that. It was something else as well, introducing me to the French language. So we'd, have a few times, once a month or whatever, we'd get together and the French want to talk English.
So did they go from that to the university, or did they?
So they were in Lycée, we said, did they?
Lycée, yeah.
They went from Lycée and they both went into apprenticeships after school. They finished straight from Lycée.
Quite a lot here now, don't they?
Straight into an apprenticeship. So we found them both a work placement, and then they went to college once a month, I think.
Right.
For a week and stayed at college.
Yeah, that's what they do here, don't they? Generally, yeah. So, right, so they did go on to university or whatever after that. Was it?
CFR was where they went. Alençon.
Yeah.
So one became a plumber and the other one became an electrician.
Oh, brilliant!
Both
so they've got good trades, yeah. They seemed to stop that in the UK for a while, didn't you? Didn't really get people learning trades. I think I've heard that they're supposed to be bringing it back, but I don't know.
If there is any questions in the future, I mean, from my knowledge of what the boys been through at school, I know perhaps the system is different now, but they integrated well. If someone was coming with children, I know that was an awkward age for them, but one of them was put back a year, so that is one point I didn't say earlier. Yeah. They made him redo the year he had just done in England, really. So
well, they needed to be sure
what they
know.
learning in France, they'd already learnt in England.
And that's the other thing I would ask you about, the way they teach. Is it, how would you compare that to UK? Because obviously they've come being teenage in England to teenage here, and that level of education, how does it compare?
But with what they told me, they were behind in all their learning than what they would have been in England. It might be different now. They were saying, I know one of them was put back a year, but even Stephen was in the right year for his age. He said he was still doing stuff here that he'd already learnt in England. Well, it's mathematics and that. They've both been very good at it, but the equations and stuff like that they were doing, being taught right there and then, he'd already learned how to do it in England.
He should have just kept quiet and made it look like he was very clever.
Well, no comment. Some children have confidence, others don't.
Well, yeah.
He's got confidence. That answers that question.
So he made it clear he's already learnt it. That's the boy who's living here now. Yeah.
He's a good plumber. He, with his apprenticeship, he became plumber of the year. He won the award at Amazon.
Wow.
Apprentice.
So basically, it sounds like he's just a quick learner. So he's now an artisan here. Or...
No, he's employed by a French company.
Oh, is he? Oh, that's good as well.
He still talks about registering and becoming an artisan himself one day, but
because there's not many plumbers around.
No, he should be able to find work.
There's the times, because obviously Duncan do what he does, we get asked all the time, do you know a plumber? And it's so rare. I mean, we found another one now that we can recommend, but then, like Duncan, when they're recommended, they end up so busy and they just can't keep up. Right, well, the last question.
Oh, gosh.
The last one is that we always get asked, do you have any regrets actually moving to France?
What do you think from talking to me?
Exactly. I think I know the answer, really. So yeah.
Occasionally.
Occasionally. Well, for what reasons, though?
Because I can feel a little lonely and isolated, but generally I think you can feel like that wherever you live in the world.
Talking about that, I mean, because because you're in a hamlet and you're away from town, would you ever say you wished you'd lived in a town?
Yes, I think I may have actually participated more in going to the bar and having a coffee every day.
Yeah.
Like you think his life in France is meant to be like, but that's probably in Provence, not in the countryside.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, people do frequent our bar quite a lot, I must admit, and it's especially always amazes me with the French men. They'll go in, and they won't just go in and have a coffee. They'll have a Kia
or a cava,
and that's the first thing in the morning. You know.
Oh yes.
But that's and then they go and drive their tractor.
Yes.
But but we used to go into ours quite a lot, and because we've got new owners, we said we must frequent the bar more. But we forget, you get so caught up in life, and you know, because we want it to stay open, so we need to use it.
This is true. Yeah, you are lucky to have a bar open in your village.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when we first bought, we were looking, we wanted somewhere with a bar and a shop and a restaurant and all that, but we've ended up with a bar which is also a shop. So yeah,
that's something I also noticed when with the region we first moved to back in 2005. For a local shop, there was nothing in the village. We had to get in the car and drive to Briouza, not 3 kilometres away, but not far, you know. Having moved here and being open on a Sunday really is new rules in France, isn't it?
What, the bar?
No, the local little shop up the road.
Oh, right.
There was nowhere.
Yeah.
Everything in Briouze, apart from the bakers and the bars, was shut.
Oh, right.
Supermarket-wise. And then we moved here, we've got a local little mini market. So
is that only open in the mornings then?
It's open 24/7.
Oh!
Well, no, as such.
No,
7 days a week.
Yeah, but that's rare,
except
isn't
for
it?
Christmas Day.
Yeah,
so
rare.
we moved to an area and thought, wow, we've got a local shop that's open quite a few hours.
Yeah.
So that was a bonus for living right here.
It's a bonus occasionally, but yeah, you don't want them all to be doing that, do we? That's the
No, we don't. I think if you ask my husband if he regretted moving here, I think perhaps now he would probably say, no, not now.
Not now, but he did. Well, at least he tried, didn't he? He went back and then realised
We went back. He realised we should have just found us another smaller property and renovated it. We shouldn't have moved back to England.
Yeah, instead of up sticks, go back, come back again. Yeah.
Chuck your furniture away and start.
It's almost like a lot of time and money wasted, wasn't it? In a way.
In a way, yeah. It cost us money to do it and go back like that. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Lynda. Thank you for doing that. I know it's
awkward
for some, but
it's been great for you to come and see me.
So it's just been so interesting getting different people's perspectives and living here, and yours has been very different again from the others. So that's good.